Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Oh, you're a little alien. Welcome back to Chai Together. I'm your host and founder, Prateepa Gray. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. Today is going to be a really, really special episode because I have with me, I would like to say, the energy worker, Miss Dawn Walker.
Hi. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone.
How's your day?
Oh, it's wonderful. Very magnetic.
It is. So I just want to share with the viewers that Miss Dawn was stating that due to her energy, technology can crackle, such as it is now. I don't know if people can hear it, but you can hear it, right?
I can definitely hear it. So,
So powerful and so calm. I want to know when you realized that that was you. You're like a Matilda, modern day.
I realized really my power and strength well over a decade ago. I knew when I was in it as a child. I've always moved in energy, but I got lost in the lack of emotional intelligence for quite a long time. And I was in the abyss in my 20s and leading right up into my beginning 30s of victim mentality, lack of mental health, and walking in my power, lack of appropriate tools for mental health. And so I was using things that were not strong and were actually weakening my ability, plant medicine, using it too much. So, drugs, alcohol, and using unhealthy coping tools to deal with life, right? All of the energetic flow of others. And then it was an aha moment where I woke up and all of my years of inner teaching, right? We have an inner tutor always speaking to us, just came to life and awakened. March 9th, 2011, I had a powerhouse moment and all of it just came in a surge. And I awoke, and that was the start of understanding that I heal others, I supercharge others, and it's about me being calm to really operate in my power. And it is about my internal conversation with myself and my conversation with others while I'm sitting back listening to others, sharing a reciprocity of emotion and energy exchange with a group of people, one on one, or even when I'm personally in my thought life and others start popping up in my thought life. So it really started March 9th, 2011, so vividly, and it is supercharged ever since. And so I'm going to tell everybody that's joining in, we were connected in chat before we started, and the crackling was going, and often, so we tried to restart it, and often this happens every time I'm on StreamYard with other conversations. And when the energy is so high, I will walk into stores, and wherever I stand, their registers and their computers will just freeze. It doesn't know how to operate with my charge. I'm also a property manager, and we've happened to blow through in every single property that I manage. All all new water heaters. The second I started going in to manage the properties, they had to put in new water heaters, new heating units. So all of the tenants have brand new everything. And I watched the anomaly happen, and they finally pointed the finger back at me because of the energy charge they would get off of me just even in meetings. And so it's funny. It just surges everywhere. Cars, you name it.
Wow. I've never heard of someone like you before or met someone like you before? Have you met anyone who's like you at this frequency?
I have, yes, I had one person that I met, and he ended up becoming my spiritual grandfather. His name is Bernie Reese, and he's ascended, and he actually created a law firm, and he's a devout Christian. He challenged the United States Supreme Court to keep God and the commandments in place. It was a little over a decade ago. They were looking to dissolve that language as United States citizens, and Bernie challenged them and won and kept the commandments intact as part of our mantra in the United States. And it was Bernie, when I met him, I was serving. I always serve at some level. And I was serving food. I was in a sabbatical. I only worked very part-time. I love serving others quietly and serving them energetically, and them not knowing that I'm clearing them, because to watch their energy shift is amazing. But when I met Bernie, my body actually shifted. Like it just felt like I was straightening up, and the emotional baggage and the turmoil that I was still carrying and didn't even realize I was carrying just lifted out of my energetic layers.
Wow.
It was so amazing. And it was at that moment that we began our friendship, and he became my grandfather mentor.
Wow. Is he still living?
He is not to my knowledge. He used to challenge me for years to send out scripture and read scripture as a moving oracle, not as religious, but he just wanted me to continue to guide myself in reading scripture. And then he challenged me to send out scripture, and he sent me daily scripture. He let me know. He traveled the world as a missionary with his wife. His wife had ascended. I'm very psychic, so she would talk to me, and I believe he ascended. I never got the formal bow out from him, and they still have his phone on. So occasionally I will leave messages because I'm not sure. Now that we're talking, I have one person I can reach out to find out to, and I never looked it up. We're always around each other, even if we ascend, right? So I have a lot of ascended people around me as well, and they are who give me my higher self, my mission path with relating to others. I'm sure you have questions with that, and some people might be watching saying, okay, she's getting a little too airy-fairy with me. So help me break that down. Yeah.
No, I definitely don't feel that way, but you just stated that even that when we leave this realm, that we're still here. Is that what you're saying? Like spiritually?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a part of mental health that we don't talk about. I know you theme Chai together, Pratibha, with mental health and awareness. And we never spoke about it. Our parents and our ancestors, most of them, especially here in the Western world, it was never discussed and spoken about. Now, in other cultures, over in India, in the Indian culture, and even in the first American tribes, the indigenous tribes, people call them Native Americans, right? The first Americans, they know of the ascension and moving and reincarnation and moving about while you're still here on the earth, so that you can administer to yourself and others while you're in the earth, which is energy alchemy. And we do not ever die. We just shapeshift. Our energy always moves. So while we're here in the earth realm, a good way to think about it is, you know, we're an energetic frequency away. We have our own spice, right? We are, we're our own chai, right? Each one of us, we're a fractal of our higher self. So for those that end up tuning in, and for you, Pratipa, to view it, think of yourself as an invisible tower up in the ethers, up in the galaxy, and you're up there whispering down to your earth fractal, right? What to do next, where to go, avoid this. You give yourself feelings and emotions from high above. So higher consciousness is a part of that, and it vibrates your energetic essence here on earth.
Wow.
So we don't talk about that. I was never raised that. I look back at all of the decades of generations, and there was no emotional intelligence. It was very slim and few in between families where they talk about emotions. This is energy in motion. And the fact that all of us have ESP, which is extra sensory perception. So we have our eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch, feel, smell. But we also have the extra sensory perception of that, which psychically is known as clairs, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairgustus, right? Clairaudience, clairsentience. I got my little list here so I don't miss any. Clairvoyance, which is seeing, clairaudience is hearing. And we are telepathic. Essentially, we're all one being. Even though we show up and have our own earth mind, thought and essence, we have a spirit mind that's one. It's one vibration. That shows us, it shows up in nature in the anomaly of birds. You notice how there's hundreds and thousands of birds, and they'll flock together and none of them touch one another. And yet they will swarm and move and swoop, and they do not have accidents because they're operating in their communication with their heart, and they're speaking to one another telepathically and in their vibrational movement. Therefore, they're always honoring one another and moving as one.
Wow.
And you do that, you notice that with swells of hundreds of thousands of fish out in the ocean. I'm a deep water scuba diver.
Ooh.
Yes. And, you know, that consciousness is an anomaly all on its own. And they do the same thing, and they operate. And you'll notice communities will operate that, and families will operate that. And they're either functioning in it or they're dysfunctional, and they're not tuned in. They're not quiet enough to listen to the needs of the whole and communicate that as a whole for the higher good of the whole. Instead, they're fragmenting and saying, I want, I want, I want, I need, me, 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 me. The importance of one instead of the importance of the whole.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you believe in ghosts, or that ghosts are harmful?
That's a loaded question. What do you
Yeah.
identify as a ghost?
I would say just someone who's passed on, right? Their spirit. Wouldn't it still be their energy? Or what would that be from your knowledge?
Yes. Okay. So yes, from my knowledge, energies pass. And if anybody watches my page, or even my personal page on Facebook, I just posted a video of actual spirits going in and through me and around me. I was exploring a cave over in Dubuque, Iowa, the Crystal Caves, and I turned my video on, and all of these orbs started coming in and through and around me. They were light, and they were actually filling me with so much joy. It was amazing.
Wow.
So I heard Lakota Sioux in my heart. It was the Lakota Sioux tribe. They are ancient ancestors. Sitting Bull was one of the leaders of the peace treaty amongst the people, and he fought and died for the peace of the people, for them to understand consciousness. And when they came in, they are love and light. So yes, they pass on. We have some of my dearest friends are very strong mediums all around the world that will connect you to your people that have ascended, to communicate with them, right? I communicate with them as well. Some of them will come in very deeply and say, I need you to tell them this. People that accidentally overdose, they get into accidents. It's trauma in the family that they've died, that whatever happened, however they ascended, they come back and say, let them know it's okay. I'm good. I'm off learning and experiencing and experimenting with other sides of myself. And it's all good. Now, to answer your question, negative. I do a lot of house clearings. I do corporate clearings on buildings. People buy properties to start restaurants or new businesses, and there was a bad scene there, maybe a murder, or bad people and their energies that live there. Energies can come across as a ghost. People create energies. I wrote a little pocketbook, so if anybody wants that, message me and I'll send you that. It's just a free pocketbook that I wrote with a friend of mine called The Consciousness Elementals. Myself and Sherry Colby wrote that. She is a mindfulness coach. And I also put it in the Urban Dictionary, Consciousness Elemental, because we create conscious elementals, and so does the mainstream media that we adhere to. And then we create fear in our mind, and it's an aversion. But that fear or that anger or that energy creates an unseen elemental energy of its own, and it can float off and impregnate others with its energy. So if I were to focus on coming in here and I was really angry, let's say I got into an argument before you and I even connected, you are going to feel that energy, even though you and I are on opposite sides of the globe. Mm-hmm. You're going to feel the anger and the heaviness, right? So yes. A lot of times people think that it's a ghost that's bringing that energy in, but it's actually people around them or themselves, and it's just floating around, this elemental, seeking whom it can get its attention of and change their energy into that, right? The lower passions are quote unquote demons: anger, fear, jealousy, comparison spirit, addiction, overcompensation of things. That there is definitely shyness, not getting out of that fearfulness. It all feeds on one another. Spirits to come in and, open up portholes. I don't understand leaders that are talking about that, because the only thing that energies that have ascended are seeking is unconditional love.
Wow.
If they are caught in anger and rage when they passed, and you feel that energy come in and around you, the only thing that you have to do, and everybody can do this, everybody can clear the energetic world, the unseen realms, 3D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D. There's so many dimensions. There's more than we can ever name. So if you feel that energy coming in, the only thing that you have to do is activate your heart. And that heart energy, that heart chakra, That's where healers operate out of, Reiki masters, Feng Shui masters, Qigong. It's all sending out heart energy and intention. And just say to you, I love you unconditionally, and say to that energy in your space, I love you unconditionally, and feel it. And the way to activate that is to go to a space in your heart where you felt unconditional love, in a moment where you felt at peace, cared for, and completely in love with life and yourself. And take that energy and activate it and push it out. And that will clear and elevate anything that's stuck.
Wow.
So there's ghostly experiences. The ghosts that are there that are stuck are just wanting the resolve of their experience that they're still communicating with. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. How did you come to terms that the answer is unconditional love? You know, they say universally love is the answer, but is that something that you studied, or, you know, your teacher taught you?
I did. I studied. I was taught that through examples, through friends and family members, that regardless of what I was going through situationally in life, they were just strong pillars of unconditional love. So I always knew that no matter what, they were a safe haven. And I felt good because you can feel when somebody judges you, and there's no judgment with unconditional love, right?
Wow.
They just feel warm and fuzzy. And so then I started studying all of the masters that stuck out to me, for that emulated unconditional love. I started studying Jesus. Like, why are these people that came in and swooped in around my life so sold out on Jesus Christ? And then why is there so much hype around him and his actions? So I started studying Jesus Christ. 4 years. This is when I was in the height of my sabbatical, when I met Bernie, actually. And he was a Christ follower. And I'm like, what is the essence with these Christ followers? And then why are so many people against people being religious and going into churches? So I went to every single church and style there was to figure out, did I like it? Didn't I like it? What kind of doctrine were they teaching and preaching? Did they force the people to adopt it? And what was the core? And throughout all of the studying and following and meditating with Jesus, and then I was led to Dr. Asui for Asui Reiki, which he used to follow Christ, and he wanted to know the same thing as I did. How did he heal himself? How did he heal others? How did he know the names of the people that were approaching him? Could he feel the vibration of the energy when it left him and where it went? How did he love everybody unconditionally, so hardcore that even when they were hurting him, he still extended unconditional love?
Wow.
And
How?
it led me to, the Shariaki Sugmad, the Quran, to looking into, and not deeply studying, but just understanding that underlining tone of unconditional love with all of the ascended masters. And it purified everything. And then we've got a great teacher that's out there on YouTube, Greg Braden. He actually captured energy alchemy on camera. He partnered with people and finally got energy alchemy on camera. What's energy alchemy? Energy alchemy is energy in movement, changing in front of our eyes. It is what Reiki masters do when all of them go into hospitals and volunteer their time. All of the energy workers say, hey, I'm a healer. They're doing energy alchemy. It's not traced. It's not scientific based evidence. Everybody wants proof. You cannot follow energy unless you have microscopic cameras going into the cellular level and watching it. And Greg Braden finally put a video out there of this great, this lady that had a tumor in her stomach. And so the tumor was about this size, and they actually put a camera on it real time. And they took energy practitioners and put the energy practitioners that were doctors around her. And all of the energy practitioners did not do traditional scientific based surgery. Instead, they thought of her whole and healed, and they all agreed on one word. And that one word was prayer. Prayer and praise are the same thing. It's power raised vibration, praise, power raised vibration. And they thought unconditional love to her. And so they had the real-time camera on her, and they started chanting a word that meant you are whole. Unconditional love is whole. And they watched the tumor shrink real time and disappear. Cancerous tumor in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Unconditional love. They caught energy alchemy on camera, and it purifies everything back to its original state. So then I'll go further. Then I started studying Ho'oponopono with Dr. Hugh Len. Joe Dispenza brought him to light for many people. He's another person that says you can create and cultivate anything with your mind, right? And the underlining core of Ho'oponopono, and I started practicing it in my daily life with people, is wishing people unconditional love the entire time you're communicating with them, connecting to them. And they actually traced the Ho'oponopono practitioners, because there's only a few thousand of us out there that are activating it. And they've cleared, Dr. Hugh Len actually cleared a whole psych ward of murderers without ever meeting them.
Wow.
He went through and read each one of their case studies, and he read each act that they did that was in lower passions, be it murder, whatever it was, arson, whatever it was, that act of lower passions, what they call in the Bible sin, right? Jealousy, so they, killed somebody out of a jealous rage, whatever that was, he cleared all of their energies and wished them unconditional love, because they were not fostered and given enough of it, nor did they know how to ask for it. So they were in the opposite. They were not in mental health. They were completely in mental unhealth. He healed them to mental health. And not only that, in clearing them, never meeting them one time, he cleared the energy of unforgiveness with the family members of the people that they murdered. They all ended up loving the person that violated them and took their family member off the earth, just by him intentionally sending unconditional love to the portion of the soul. And he called it a piece of himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
As you were talking, I was thinking about the story about the tree. It's a true story. I forget where on the island, but to kill the tree, everyone gathers, all the villagers, and they curse at the tree, and the tree dies on its own. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. They've got water experiments and rice experiments where you can watch it actually shape shift because of the energy. And the energy and all of the anger that they poured into that poor tree, it absorbed that. Which you had a prolific word come to you before we even connected, and that was magnetism. And our energies are magnets. We naturally draw into one another. But whether it's positive or negative, we draw into one another. Now, those that are wanting to gravitate towards positive, they can feel that negative person coming at them and they're running the other way. They're considered energy vampires, right? But it is the intention of energy. And, if you think about it, the plants, the mineral kingdom, the earth realm, and everything even in our house, how often do you go around your house in gratitude and say to the bookshelf behind you and the paint on the walls and the floor that you have your feet resting on, I love you. The chair that's holding you, and tell it, I love you. They're serving us. They cannot speak, but they're alive. They are a portion of energy in the earth that has been remade into things. Have you ever thought to do that?
I'm sure I've done it before when I was younger, but I've never I've never thought to do that. Like, I know I follow Sadhguru's teachings, and there's a video where it's like, you know how we say self-love and say I love you to ourselves and things, but there's a video where, it can, I don't want to say psychotic, but it can also be to where it's a bit insane. He was saying, I forget which video, don't quote me, but to, say like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be so grateful, like I love my arm, I love, like, to start talking like that. It's kind of like could drive you a bit insane, psychologically. So that was his point there. What's your thought on that?
That's exactly the science behind it. And for those that come in, this is a very important topic. Hold on, I have to grab just a little bit of water. Somebody is joined in that cannot speak, and they feel unheard, and they're in a toxic relationship that doesn't offer reciprocity, and they're watching in the audience. So for you that's here, I'm clearing you right now. And I want you to move towards people that will listen to you so that you feel valuable and valid and wanted, so that you can start speaking up, because they've gotten to such a point that they don't speak up about anything. So there's somebody that's connected to us right now that's here. So what I'm doing is pausing what we were talking about for a minute so I can actually clear their energy and heal them, heal their heart. And I just want to go on a tangent about what happened to them when they're young, but you know what that is. And I want you to know that I feel you and I love you unconditionally. And I'm sending you so much energy to your heart right now. You have a family in Chai Together, so continue to come into Chai Together, and we will heal you collectively, and you can reach out to any of us. So energy is in motion. What our thoughts are is what we reap. We definitely reap what we sow, even if we're not mindful about our thoughts. We draw in stuff. So if you live in fear because you had trauma when you were young, so you always worry about getting hit by a car, you worry about thieves coming into your house, you're creating yourself to be a target. It's the same thing. You've got to talk to everything with unconditional love. You are your own church. You are your energy ball. What you command is what you dictate out unto others. So when you tell yourself, I love you so much, your skin, thank you for serving me. Thank you for being the biggest breathing organism, bringing celestial oxygen into my body and serving me in such a way. It loves that. Your skin loves you. Thank you, eyes, for serving me and being whole and always healing and working at your top performance and sheltering me from harmful rays. And thank you for being geniuses at what you do. Do you know you can heal your eyes? You heal yourself by talking to yourself. And one of the biggest things with mental health is that people don't understand is that words are the biggest addiction and poison known to man. They either edify you or destroy you. So if you were raised in a household that was toxic and your parents told you you were no good, you will live that for the rest of your life. They actually did studies with all of the criminals, people that, the recidivism rates were high in the communities. So they would go into these repeat offenders and find out what psychologically was going on. And they were in warfare. And there's billions of people that are in psychological warfare right now because words that were spoken to you when you were a child were programmed into your subconscious mind. The first 12 years of your life, you're a sponge. And so everything that's said to you, you take on as God, and it's programmed. And now you've got to do work to get rid of that old programming saying I'm not good enough, because their words just will replay. You're not good enough. You're no good. And then all of a sudden you have low self-esteem and you're walking through life in your 20s and 30s and 40s and saying, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. And now you're claiming it out over yourselves. And guess what? you're not going to get the opportunity because you've already convinced your cells and your energy and the energy of the others that meet you that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve it. It communicates to them.
Wow. And I do want to say that the island, I remember it's the Solomon Island.
Say that
Yeah.
again.
The island that I was mentioning about the tree, it's the Solomon Island where they do that. If they want to get rid of a tree, instead of cutting it down, they just curse it, gather around, curse it until it shrivels down and dies itself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a true. I mean, if you believe, right, it's true. But it's true. I googled it as well. But
I do believe that. I'd love you to send me the link. I think that's true, but I also think it's cruel.
Yeah. I thought that too.
We sacrifice ourselves for one another. So in my mind, because trees are beautiful beings, when I look at trees, I watch them shapeshift, and I watch beings show themselves to me. I love trees. I'm a tree hugger. I love getting lost in the trees, and they provide us celestial oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
They give us our breath. They keep us alive. Do you know oxygen are celestial light workers? They're beings. Some people will say that's aliens. Yes, they are. They're alien to you because you're taking advantage of the oxygen that they produce to keep our body alive. But when you stop and you go out and ground and you hug a tree, it clears all of your energetic debris. If somebody was mean to you and they told you were no good and you believe their words, their harmful words, which you're unconditional love and light, so don't believe anything less. But if it really moved you because you had them on a pedestal, go out and hug a tree and they will remove that toxic energy from your body, from your energy layers, from your being. And then on top of that, if you need to use the tree for wood for some reason, because you can't find trees that have died, because that wood is just as good to form into other things, then ask the tree for its sacrifice and allow it to, and take it down. Have an agreement. Everything you have to have an agreement with.
You know, the first thing I did this morning was wear my tree hugger shirt. It literally says tree hugger, and then I changed it into this one. But it would be perfect if I had it on. But I wanted to say, in the Bible, we're compared to trees. Did you know that?
So we are strong trees and strong oaks and strong willow trees, weeping willows, and we absolutely are. When I look at trees, I see giant humans. I see giants, and I believe that they all whisper. I hear them. I listen to them, and I ask them their story. And I have conversations with trees. I tell them how much I love them. I tell them how grateful I am that they are here supporting the community. And they do have a consciousness. Everything talks and reverberates through sound. So yeah, it's beautiful. You do have the most perfect shirt on. If you could show everybody, because it shows how we are galactic.
Don't talk to strangers. You might fall in love. Alien. Showing my breasts on camera.
I'm as well. Yes. Thank you. Yes. But no.
I was going to say there is a TED Talk about the woman who studies trees for a living. I don't know if you ever watched it, but they actually monitor them talking to one another. So I have to send you that link.
Please send me that link. Everything talks and vibrates. I got so bad that I couldn't walk outside on grass because I didn't want to crush an insect that was traveling in the grass.
Right.
And it was just so bad. Or like if I always have bugs on me because I'm always out grounding. So if I'd come in and notice a bug and I'm in the middle of something, I would have to stop everything to take it outside to send it on its way so that it could forage for itself. I am not that nice when it comes to spiders. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not that nice when it comes to spiders. So I just tell them, whoop, you're zapped into the energy world now. Go live.
I used to be more, when I say I used to be more emotional before, it's like when I hadn't dealt with my trauma at all, right? I was always typically depressed and things. And I was so emotional, like this is not funny, but my family members nicknamed me sadness, which is not helpful. You should get somebody help, right? They don't know about mental health. They didn't know what to do. But I always like I don't like I was so sensitive. I believe I'm still an empath, but when they would come and cut the trees here, I don't want to see it. I feel like that's really sad. Like we need trees, especially now. And I always come across like a dead bunny rabbit, or recently yesterday a dead bird. Like since I was young, I always came across like dead animals, and they're just laying there. And sometimes I would like wrap them up in a napkin, like an actual you know cloth napkin, and move them. But it's just fascinating that I always come in contact with those sad things, you know?
Yeah, so that is for you to recognize your power and
Yeah.
give them freedom and wish them unconditional love. We are natural healers. The divine feminine are very natural healers. And there's a lot of men that are birthing in now to the earth realm that are very in touch with their divine feminine and their divine masculine. And sometimes they have stronger energetic field of divine feminine, and they're strong healers as well. But the divine feminine energy is healing energy, and you have a very strong cord of that running through you. And yes, when you're an empath, you are absorbing everybody else's confusion, fear, frustration, anger, all of those emotions. And we don't know any better as children, so we think it's us. We think we're the depressed soul that has all of this energy, and why can't I be so vibrant like the other people? But what you're doing is listening to the notes, the soul notes fly by of everybody that's communicating and what they're thinking about around you, because we're telepathic. And so, that's my biggest goal, is to talk about it so much that the leaders create programs for the public school system to create emotional intelligence programs that start at the beginning of school all the way through adolescence, into collegiate years and beyond. They need to be these programs and the healing workshops need to be stationed in every corporate office, in every school, as the children are being raised and adopted for future generations, so that we understand emotions, energy and motion, and we understand telepathy, and we understand ESP, extrasensory perception, because we're always in communication with every single thing. We all vibrate. Our thoughts are a vibration. And if we would healthily teach children that from the beginning, generationally, after a few generations, it'll shift so that it's common knowledge and it's always talked about, respected, and birthed in speech around the globe. And then we will not have this anomaly of lost children that are lost adults raising lost adults and lost children. Instead, we will have the tone of pure respect for one another, to where this is a we teamwork communally, and people will feel that energy. And it's so sad that we watch all of these children that are so empathic go through the war of comparing themselves. I'm not sexy enough. I'm not enough. What? Sexy is for the bedroom. Sexy is for the bedroom when the emotions are high, and that's it. Keep the sexy in the bedroom. Work on what are your spiritual gifts, right? Just my opinion there, but what are our
It's so
spiritual
funny.
gifts? How can we edify one another? Is my gift spiritually? I have great extrasensory perception and taste buds. Let me be one of the best chefs out there, creating high vibrational foods with spices and raw fruits and vegetables and cocoa, and to really add spice to people. Or if I'm a healer and I'm psychically gifted, let my gift be that I can be a disco ball, a mirror for all of you, and say, you know what, I see that you really need more self-care in this area. You're not honoring yourself. You need to get out and ground with the earth. And then energetically, another issue that we have is that we've built ourselves so well in homes and buildings that we've forgotten that we are a plant. Our body is a plant. It's a mineral and plant kingdom, the physical earth body that needs to be out on the vibration of the earth so that we can change our electrodes in our body to the vibration of the earth frequency so that it can heal us and clear us from disease and dysfunction and bad conversations. We need to actually have our bare feet planted in the earth for a couple hours a day, just so that our cells and our function and our atoms function naturally to get rid of inflammations and sicknesses. That's why we are so diseased and so dysfunctional. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yes. Someone said hey to you.
Say that again.
Someone said hey, Dawn.
Hi. I wish I could see.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah. I can't see the names of StreamYard access.
I hear it's my girlfriend Christy, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. Wait, so that brings up the question of, you having these psychic abilities and being so in tune, right, with everyone around you and yourself. How are your relationships? No one can cheat with you, right?
Hey, I'm human, and
Right.
I still go through, if I haven't eaten and I've gotten too busy, I still get hangry. But my relationships that I am fostering, that I want in my life, are healthy and balanced. I still have relationships that aren't healthy and balanced that I want healthy and balanced, but everybody has to be on board to want that. I'm not going to chase the people that don't want to chase me.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to stay healthy and balanced and in tune where I'm at. But I'll tell you, my relationship with myself before March 9th, 2011, when I woke up, was very dysfunctional, very unhealthy. I knew a lot psychically, but I didn't know how to navigate my emotions and my gifts because there's no schools teaching that, which is why I created Intuition Builders, and I teach Intuition Builders and Energy Alchemy. I teach people Reiki Mastery, but then I take them beyond that into their own organic energy mastery so that they understand that they can move energy and listen to energy and communicate with people without absorbing it and owning it. I didn't have that. So now I have that. So the relationships are flourishing. And I would say healthily, every client that has been brought my way to share space and invest time has learned the power of how they manifest everything in their life. And I lead them through example of my history before I harnessed the gift of mind mastery and self-mastery, which is an ever growing process. The entire time we're in Earth, we're always changing and learning and growing, right? But before it, I was spiritually homeless, physically homeless, classified as part of the problem in my mind instead of part of the solution, because we didn't have solutions available. So I can really reach out to struggling addicts. I love working with people that are addicted to unhealthy coping skills and showing them their power and moving their life into balance, because all of us are superpowered geniuses. We are all emotional geniuses. We just need to understand how to hear and navigate the emotions. And from there, we are textbook geniuses, because now that we have the emotions underway, then we work into our creative power and the gifts of the chai spice of our genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it starts flowing through, and they can concentrate their efforts and become master programmers of their life, bringing in manifestations of everything that they desire and beyond. We realized then the universe is for me. It was about me. First, bring that out. Did you ever see the photo of the kid that they just showed this kid, and he's got this look on his face like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck, and I wish this person would stop. And there's a boot. There's a boot on his head. And literally, he's like, everybody's coming against me. I'm stuck, and I'm a slave because of somebody else.
Mm.
Right? And then all of a sudden, they show the whole picture, and he's smiling.
He's holding it.
He's got the boot on his arm, and he's got it on his own head, and he's laughing. And once you realize that, yes, people have warped perceptions. Yes, people are still stuck in lower vibration of judgment. You're always going to navigate those people. But for the most, on a whole, people are always trying to be encouraging, filled with unconditional love, challenge their own natural ego judgments and break through them and be unconditional love. And once you do that, you will never say, hey, I'm prejudiced against, hey, I got the bad end of the stick. Hey, I've got this. No, because you don't believe that about yourself. So move around. And if you meet people that have prejudices or are putting you in a box or full of racism, in your heart, send them unconditional love and end it there. End it there. Unconditional love, keep moving.
I like that. Unconditional love.
You start flying so high, and the people that are high vibe will start flocking to you.
Yes.
And higher and higher and higher and higher.
It's happening to me.
Yes.
And I want you, so zenana.world, right? Zenana, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah. Zenana.
Okay. Zenana. And so zenana is a sacred part and hidden part in the house for women. Yes. So where did you discover this word?
So I actually had a fight with that too, because so many people don't know how to enunciate it, but I like it as a conversation piece. Enunciate it however you want. I was looking for, what are we? Well, it's women's world. It's a sacred space in the house for women. Well, all of us have divine feminine and masculine in us. Mm-hmm. It's the divine feminine that is the healer, that fosters unforgiveness, or fosters forgiveness, fosters unconditional love, peace, harmony, intuition, and such a strong force and vibration. And so when I was looking up Zen, looking up divine femininity, I saw that, that feeling of Zen, we want that. The delicacy of feminine, to me, reminds me of being held in such a safe, peaceful security when mom would make you your favorite food to calm you down or just hold you. Mm-hmm. Or witness that with somebody else. If you never received it for yourself, you wanted it, right? Mm-hmm. Wanted that safe space. And in Mother Earth, I feel that when I'm nestled in a tree. And there it was, zenana, and I thought, oh my gosh, well, that's exactly what I do for others, because I seek it everywhere I go. So I want to give what I seek everywhere I go, that safe space. And the universe started bringing in powerful women all around me. All of my the women that are my clients are healers that just don't know it. Some more powerful than me, and we're teaching them to tap into it so they can show me some of their tools once they tune into their intuition. And then I have strong leaders all around me, divine feminine and masculine that are in my life partner. He's in his divine feminine when it comes to leading, and he's the only male figure that I have that shows me that I will allow in my life to show me that. So it's divine feminine. I love reaching out to the women. I am a woman that I dealt with life on women's terms this life. I understand how sensitive we are.
Mm-hmm.
How sensitive to all people's emotions and thoughts. We can hear others at so many levels. So that's where it was birthed. And world, this woman's world.
It is, right? So what is the origin of zenana?
So the origin of zenana is actually, there's many areas in the world that it came from, but in Hinduism, it was a portion of the house that was just for the women to come into and be one. But if you want to ask me the true origin of zenana, the person that came up with that word looked at it as a space, a sacred space of the women, for the women. And they were an ancient archetype that felt that come through the earth, right? So the earth spoke that out for us.
Wow. This is truly incredible. You shared a lot of you in this show. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I appreciate you having me on and asking me to come on the show in your space, reaching out to others. The biggest thing that I want any viewer that tunes into this to know is that you are your source of unconditional love. And once you decide that I am the source of unconditional love within myself, you will start allowing that energy to come against anything that's negative or outside of unconditional love that comes into other people, other situations. And even though you will have to move yourself into areas of being uncomfortable with being in the rut of your current programming, get comfortable with being uncomfortable and start getting radical with self-love and unconditional love to yourself until you get so full of unconditional love for yourself and appreciation for yourself that you're flowing over to others. You don't even have to say anything. They're just going to start gravitating towards you because they can feel your vibe of unconditional love. Over time, if you continue to practice this unconditional love, give yourself a couple of years to just keep creating that practice. Put reminders on your phone. I am unconditional love. Put reminders every time you sit and spend the most of your space, a little picture that says, I am unconditional love. Until in your car, on your car keys, everywhere that you can subconsciously see it. Watch unconditional love affirmation videos on YouTube. Get yourself so saturated with the thought of unconditional love and being unconditional love. I promise you, if you do that, you will birth yourself into all of your gifts and you will start pulling in people from all around the world that want to connect with you because of how you feel and how you feel.
I'm going to do this. It's a challenge. I'm about to write something now.
Yes.
Wow, I am going to saturate myself with that content and I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah. I'm sure I'll have a breakthrough. I feel like I'm going to have another new beginning. You know, every moment is a new beginning for me. But yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens. Then you start writing down your goals. See the type of people you want around you. You stop separating yourself from others. You realize that everything's a vibration and you're just kind of watching the the symphony around you. Some are low vibrational, some are real for me vibrational. If you want, you can start just practicing and sending them some unconditional love. And what happens is they feel that. They feel lift. They feel the advancement. And then you can start putting your dreams and goals in front of you. And you realize even if you only have 2 pennies to rub together, or if you don't even have 2 pennies, you can start walking in the park, and I guarantee you, you're going to find 1 penny and then 2. And you rub those together. And then you're going to have an idea through your unconditional love from the universe how to multiply those pennies, or then you'll find a nickel, or somebody will give you $1, and they'll show you how to become self-sufficient.
Wow.
And create everything that you want to create for yourself. It's slow steps. You ever see where they have the ladder and somebody's just naturally climbing the ladder because the prongs are together one step after another? Or you have the ladder and it's so hard to get to the next prong because they have their goals so high, but there's all these steps. You just got to keep making your decisions and not rush the process. Give yourself a couple of years, and everything that you want and desire will come in.
Yes. Yeah. I just started my process. So I'm giving myself a couple of years into my 30s, and it'll all flow.
Beautiful.
So. It's great. I want to ask you about your necklace too.
So my necklace is actually said to be the oldest organism on the earth.
Wow.
Hundreds of millions of years old. This is an orthoceras. And orthoceras were first born out of the earth, and they gave breath to the ocean, so they were known as a squid, and they fossilized. So this is out of the earth, and we had a jewelry maker in California that put this into a piece for me, and it really connects you to the ancientness of the earth and the energetic vibration of the earth, because we are hundreds of millions of years old. This one goes back over 400 million years old. Wow. And it's crazy. This opens up a whole nother discussion, but I know we don't have time to go there, about the gems and the fossils. When you put them around you, the information and the energy that they add to you, it is astounding. So if you feel compelled, do look up the vibration of crystals and different fossils and what they add to you energetically.
Yes. I do have a few, but I don't have that.
So, and one of the favorite, one that's called Liquid God is selenite. So you can get ones for those of you viewers, and you'll actually, they purify everything. They're considered liquid light. If you have a headache, you can put them on you and they just move. And people are like, well, how do they move your energy? Why is that? Because we are from the earth. Our physical bodies are from the earth, so they have all of the minerals and nutrients and stones of the earth in our body. Some of us have more of one and another, which makes up our skin pigmentation and the difference of how, like, our muscles formed, our DNA and all of that. But selenite is very high level in all human bodies, so therefore it clears the human bodies and just removes any stagnant energy. So there's so much to learn out there, isn't there?
Yeah. So I recently learned about the purple plate. I'll send you the link, but it's also To Heal Pain by Nikola Tesla, from back in the day. And it's a whole website of genuine, the actual stuff, not, knockoff. And it's only like $10, believe it or not. And it's just this plate. And, you can put it on your body wherever you feel pain, and then it'll relieve the pain, or whatever, right, intention you set for it, right? That's what it'll do. So I'll just send you a link so you can read it yourself.
Yeah, interesting. I look forward to it.
Yeah, but yeah, this is amazing. This is a great hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That's my birth date, actually. 1/4.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
look at that. Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you so much, you January
4th.
queen. Yes. Prativa, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
the time here.
Yeah, and I am gonna look up, the people you've mentioned and all of that stuff. So great. Yeah. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This was really, really spiritual, like really special. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.